Today is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 48, Week 11.
This episode's titled Coconut Etiquette, and that was spoken by Kamilla. Kamilla got a title.
All right. And a win. Yay, Kamilla.
Previously on Survivor, Mitch don't trust Kamilla. Mitch don't trust Mary. Mitch don't trust Star. Mm-hmm. So that's where Mitch is.
How come they didn't say Kamilla last time? They just said Mary and Star.
Yeah. Yep.
This
is why it can be. It doesn't necessarily, in the big scheme of things, it's probably nothing, but it's worthwhile to just sort of check in with the previously on, because you do get different cuts of things. I don't know if they know that, if they're aware of it.
Or Jeff spins it a little bit, which gives you a little insight sometimes, the way he spins it.
I always thought it was the latter, but yeah. But, why attribute that to something with thought when it could just be a goof or a difference? And then what else do we get in Previously on Survivor? We got our final four. You got Jova, Joe, and Eva, Shauhin, and Kyle. And they are deciding, is it Mary or is it Star? And Star's gone. Okay, we're back at camp after Tribal Council with Star voted out. Congrats to everyone on making the final seven. And Mary says, congrats to me, because I'm still here.
Even though she is going to miss Star. Mm-hmm. And every time she gets close to somebody, they get voted out.
Kiss of death, Mary. Yeah.
Well, it was her turn this week, so.
Got close to Stephanie, Stephanie's gone. Got close to Kevin, Kevin's gone. Got close to David, David's gone. Got close to Star, Star is gone. I see a pattern.
Well,
could be coincidence, but it might be causal.
And she started out pitching to Kamilla. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you get away from her.
I initially thought that was Kamilla pitching her, and then I was like, oh, I got that backwards.
Yep. Well, I liked her doing that. I really did. Mm-hmm. I like that she went to everyone and pitched, hey, use me. Use me. You can get rid of me anytime.
Yeah,
you already told me that.
That is the classic move.
Yeah, it is, but I still appreciate that she didn't hesitate to go to each and every person.
She kept working.
Except for, of course, Joe and Eva.
Yeah.
And selling her vote. Just keep me around long enough to, break up Joe and Eva. Come on. You know it's best for your game. But there just were no takers.
Well, Kamilla was interested. She said, we just got to convince Kyle and Shauhin. She liked Mary's plan. It's not that Kamilla hadn't espoused a similar plan, but yeah, it helps to have help, huh?
Yeah.
And we see Mitch talking to Kamilla and Mary says, yeah, I want to target Joe. Keep me and take out Joe and Eva. And we see the classic response from Mitch. This is just his go-to. The writing is on the wall. Joe keeps dominating. He's going to run away with the whole season. He's going to win. Okay, Mitch, do something, buddy. I believed in you. I thought you had the potential to win.
Well, I was just waiting for them to have another opportunity. But I actually, and I don't know that I've ever done this, is last week after I updated the website, I just made my picks. Mm-hmm. And I just totally went with Mary and
let it ride.
Let it ride. And then you said this morning, did you make your picks? And I was like, no, I haven't. And then I went, wait a minute.
Maybe I did.
Didn't I do that? Yeah. Didn't I tell you I did that?
Weren't sure, but yeah.
So I did go check, and I was like, I did. I think I'll just let it ride. And I'm hoping they'll make a move, but I think I'll let it ride.
I did like, too, that Mary it wasn't like a simple one beat, a one flavor pitch, because she did ask the question, what if Kyle and Shauhin don't want that?
Yes.
So
What
are we going to do? How are we going to manage it? She was trying to cover the angles, and I did like how we got to see that.
Well, even Mary, and this is jumping ahead, but okay, I'll wait.
Go ahead,
You made
say
a
what you're going to
face.
No, I was just waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Just that I liked Mary telling Joe she's going to vote for him, because that just set off a whole new thing.
Okay, back to the timeline. It's early morning on day 20, and we see Kyle and Joe coming out on the beach and talking about how that was just the longest night. Kyle evidently had some trouble sleeping, and Joe wants to know, do we still have a solid 4? Kyle says, yes, you bet.
Well, both Joe and Kyle are happy with the core 4. Joe's like, yep, we just get rid of Mary and then Mitch, and we're good.
Because we've got a true emotional connection. That makes it hurt that much more when the vote comes for you.
Well, here's the thing. At least
he's banking on that.
Kyle is starting to say, but can I beat Joe at the end? And he's thinking about his options. It's like, Kyle, how many times has Joe won and how many times have you won? And can you beat him? Sure, you can. But will you? I mean, that's a big ask.
Yeah, and he was saying the right things. He's saying,
Yep.
that 7 is a turning point, is a crucial point for taking action. I want to rewind just a second, too, because Shauhin comes out and joins them on the beach. And Shauhin says, oh, yeah, I got rest. So he's evidently sleeping well out there. I don't know if he, takes a hammock every night or the hammock, as Eva says.
Oh, the hammock.
Yeah. But Joe says he wants to take the best and win against the best. It's a common theme that we've heard. Yes. People in Joe's camp, in the honesty, integrity camp, loyalty is what it's all about. Going to take the best and win. I believe him, though. Don't you? That he really wants that. He's okay with that. He's okay.
Yes, because
he thinks he's the best.
Yes, he's confident.
Yes.
That he can beat anyone.
Yeah.
Left in the game.
Right.
And yes, there are chances that they can win, but I think he's pretty confident. And if he hadn't missed that one little thing. Okay, so then we flip over to Mary pounding on a coconut.
Just before that, we see her talking to Kyle. And
I thought we talked about that.
And she says, hey, maybe you and Shauhin don't want to sit against Joe. You can use me. So she had made her pitch to Kamilla and to Mitch, and now she's trying to wrangle Shauhin or wrangle Kyle in.
But she wasn't getting any takers, and that's why she was so angry and beating up on the coconut.
Yeah, she got frustrated because Kyle's response was, it was the last, he thought it might be the last chance for a clean cut shot at Joe.
And that they had shared things that would make it very difficult to make that move now.
That's what really triggered her.
How is it going to
emotional connection
easier, though?
It won't. It only gets harder if that's your reasoning.
Anyway, she feels like everybody said no, even though they didn't actually say no.
Right, but she needed Kyle.
No. Yeah. Then Eva's getting upset with her as Eva's sitting there eating away, angry at Mary because she's chopping up all the coconuts.
Yeah.
Well, you could save them.
Yeah. You could save that bite in your hand, Eva.
We won't have enough to get to the end. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
In between bites of coconut, she tells us.
You put it in your
she
mouth.
ends up telling us that Mary's being spiteful.
I just thought that was kind of funny,
it was. It was a great juxtaposition.
Okay. But I have to say, Mary saying, well, I'm not going on any rewards, so I need to eat.
Yes.
And then Eva goes and complains to the guys about it. Though I didn't hear her tell them that, though I enjoyed some of them while I was there to eat coconuts.
Right. And then we get the title of the episode from Kamilla. She said, no one's going to want to keep someone who doesn't know coconut etiquette. Yeah. That is a funny word, the way it's spelled.
Etiquette?
Etiquette. Yes.
Yeah. Not etiquette. But yes, the English language. Okay, still on day 20.
Spent a lot of time on day 20, 2-day
Yes,
cycle
yes.
in the game, 20 and
Kyle's
21.
talking to Kamilla, and he kind of wanted to know, if I did flip, just thinking about it hypothetically, do you really think Mary would come along? And he ended up apologizing to her about being wishy-washy, which he has kind of been with her.
Certainly
I'm
was the
surprised
previous
she's not
day.
more
For us, this
upset.
takes
Yeah.
weeks, but this is just sort of day to
Yeah.
day with them
Yep.
from 19 to 20 and how he's going to not get in her way, but not help her at the same time.
Yeah, and then we get the what we saw on the next on with Kyle sitting out by the beach on some rocks and he's
Lamenting his
really
commitments.
struggling
Yeah.
with the core 4 loyalty versus loyalty to Kamilla.
And they've shared deep, meaningful conversations.
And there's no moral escape for him.
And then Kamilla is a breath of fresh air. And he's questioning, do I betray Kamilla or Joe, Eva, and Shauhin? He struggles and he cries.
Well, here's where I really was concerned about him is that he said, I don't want to hurt people even for the betterment of my family. I thought, uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure you
Well,
got what it
if-
takes.
If you're feeling that, I don't know if you can pull that trigger.
Yeah.
And so, but I guess that's up to you. But, he is still lying to everybody. He's, on one thing. How much do you think that plays into it? That he knows he's lying to every one of them about what he does, that he's an attorney. He hasn't told them
that is a weight
he's
on him?
teacher. You think that's playing into it, that they're being honest and upfront, and he's just pretending to?
You may be right, given
In
what
some
happens
ways.
on day 21, but I wouldn't have thought that was significant at all.
But why not? It's just lies. It's a lie that's going to come out. I mean, sure, I
Yeah,
think
but
they
he's
could
holding it
overlook
for his
that.
benefit.
Yeah, I know. But he would
It's not
vote
like
him
a
out
lie
for
where
his
he's
benefit
betrayed
too.
someone.
So
Yeah.
I don't see it as being that different. Okay, so then they flip over to Shauhin, and he's lamenting about this game is way harder than he thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to give us some more perspective on where Kyle's coming from because he's sharing a similar take on it, right?
Yeah.
The really
Well-
tight friendships that have developed make it so much harder.
Well, I thought Shauhin was going to be very cutthroat. So I am actually a lot more surprised with him feeling such a closeness and not wanting to turn
And
against the friendship.
This was him saying that he thought he was going to be a lot more cutthroat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was easily going to get to day 20 if you asked me at the
and that
beginning
one
of the
doesn't
game.
bother me, and I don't care, and I'll give you.
Meanwhile,
it's like-
it was Thomas. Thomas was cutthroat. Thomas would have absolutely had no issue with any of this.
And he had no trouble cutting Thomas.
Right.
But
or Shauhin.
he's
Shauhin didn't really.
finding it's a lot harder to people he's gotten close with and people that have shown him trust.
Just to clarify, Shauhin didn't have anything to do with getting rid of Thomas. That was Kyle and Kamilla working their magic.
Well, yeah, but he didn't have a problem with it either, I don't think, did he?
Yeah.
Did he?
They were the California girls.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
lamenting
yeah.
that they didn't make it through their first tribal council together.
Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think they see Joe as being so straight up honest.
You know what could
Eva,
help
too.
all this, though? A day out on the water snorkeling.
Oh, see.
So Kyle gets Mitch and Shauhin, and they go out. Kyle said that was his first time going out with a snorkel, right?
It's the first time he caught a fish, he said.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it was first time snorkeling, but it's first time he caught a fish.
Yeah.
Until there's a boat coming.
Yeah, time for a voyage.
Boy, that got Eva up out of the hammock
Yeah.
quickly.
She scrambled,
Boat's
huh?
coming.
Yeah.
That means something. I was
Frantic
just running
arms
out
and
there to
legs
get it.
akimbo coming out of the hammock, as she described it or pronounced it.
Okay, Mr. Etiquette. So,
Okay, if they can't decide on someone to go, they're going to have to leave it up to the Purple Rock. And
Well-
Mary says she wants to go, so everybody gets to
Well-
draw rocks.
yeah, there were people that wanted to go. So,
Well, they wanted to have a defensive response. They didn't want to just give it to Mary. Eva draws last, and she gets the Purple Rock. and she tells us she's pumped.
Yep, she's very happy about it, even though she has 2 advantages.
Shauhin and Joe are happy too. They say it works out perfect. Give her a fist bump on the way out.
Well, and she's not really concerned as much if she loses her vote because she does have other protection available.
Well, she does, and she also knows there's a danger in leaving it to a 3-3.
Yes,
so.
there is.
Okay, off to the journey. Eva gets there and she tells us she's pumped. That's one of her go-to phrases.
The game awaits her inside the jungle.
Time to stack some cards. Well, not really cards. They're like pieces, they're wood blocks, but classic card stacking kind of thing. If she can get 4 levels, she'll get her vote back. If she can get it up to 8 levels high, she'll gain a knowledge is power. She has to stand on a narrow plank to stack the little boards.
And turn it with her feet.
Rotate it, with a foot. So that was an interesting twist on that. Gets to 3 levels. It's a little wobbly. And she tells us her ability to get fixated on things. I guess that means because of her autism, it actually helps her with something like this. And she gets to 4. She gets 4 levels pretty easily. So now she's got her vote back, and she's trying to decide if she want to push for 8.
So she decides to go for it. And then after a couple...
She gets 2 blocks in and goes,
like,
no.
You know, I'm so competitive. I really like that she talked herself through that. It's like, I'm so competitive, I would go for it. But
she cares more about the team.
Yes. But I like that. I really like that she stopped doing it for the team.
I forgot. I was going to go back and look. I thought she might have knocked that over before the sand ran out of the hourglass. I wanted to go back and check that.
Yeah, it didn't matter. It was over.
Yeah, they gave it to her. I guess it doesn't matter.
She'd already gotten it, so it didn't.
Okay, so she gets back to the beach and tells everyone exactly what happened.
Yep. It almost seemed like Joe would have maybe preferred that she hadn't told everything.
It was more the way she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that she wanted to make sure that she
needed it, but I didn't.
She took it away from the others.
Because I have the idol.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Y'all the one that needed it.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's...
Sorry, Mary.
That's Eva, and that's the way she is, and they know that. So, and Mary just flat out asked Shauhin, "Are you planning to turn on Joe and Eva?" And Shauhin's like, "I know Joe could win, but I do think I played a better game." I was like,
Well, that's where we have the advantages of the viewers. They've shown us things,
but does anyone know?
The way that Shauhin's been presented has been more of the clown, not being aware of things going on. But it's good to get his state of mind at this point.
But if he could sell it, that's what it's all about in the end. Can you sell that to the jury?
Yeah, and it's nice to get that insight. How is this particular castaway thinking about their odds? How are they making this decision? What are they factoring in to get to this point?
What I found most interesting was that he still feels like he could choose any path he wanted. And get to the end. That he's close to everyone.
Keeping all doors open. We like that. That's one of the things we look for and highlight.
He said, I can upset things if I want to, or I can just go with the easy vote.
Sit patient, Mary. Sit patient.
So
don't want them to get wind of what's going on if we decide to make that move.
I was surprised that he was feeling that confident.
Yeah. But that's been his downfall.
Confident.
That's how they've been presenting him in the edit. He's confident that this is exactly what happened. Meanwhile, they showed us that did not happen.
Okay.
The time for the immunity / reward challenge. We're back to a combo.
21.
Yep.
We finally changed off of the day.
Yeah. There's a lot packed into 20.
That was.
Okay, moving on here to the challenge in day 21. They're going to have to push a wheelbarrow over obstacles while balancing a vase or vases on it. And the vases contain keys. And one of the keys is going to unlock some puzzle pieces, and you got to build an arch puzzle. So this is kind of a nice...
Spell out a word with all those letters.
Yeah, this is like a single-person variation of the one we saw back in, 46, where they had so much trouble getting the arch puzzle with the word together.
Well, I'm sure that's not that easy.
And what a long word too. With the unforgettable. Wow.
Yeah.
And having to work that out on top of everything else. Okay, they're also playing for reward. There's sushi, there's chicken teriyaki, there's noodles
dessert,
and chocolate cake.
Ooh.
And we see Mitch writing in the air with his finger. He's trying to figure out what that word is. What's 14 letters or whatever it was.
He was not even close.
No. So moving the survivor wheelbarrow with the vase on it ends up being a little tricky right out of the gate. Shauhin and Eva are struggling with it, but Mary, Mitch, and Kamilla zoomed right on through the first part.
And Shauhin was the first to start the puzzle. Then Mitch was second. Then Joe, Kamilla, Eva, and Kyle. Kyle came in last. But boy, he made up time, didn't he, when he did get there?
Mary was struggling.
Oh, yeah.
She
Did
was in
Mary
struggle
ever get-
city.
I just kind of wrote that off because she was still back there when they were all...
Joe thought he had it, but it was wrong.
Oh, man, I thought he had it too.
And we see Kamilla building a... She's the first one who seems to have figured out the word.
Yes. But Kyle had it too. I don't know if she communicated or let him see.
Well, they were all looking
what.
down towards her
Yeah.
to see. But the thing that disappointed me most about Kyle was that he said it out loud. So all the people who
'Cause
were
Joe
struggling with the
didn't
word,
have it.
right? He didn't have
And
the right
then
word.
Joe jumped right in there and was able to put it all together.
Kyle spelled it wrong. Couldn't see how he had spelled it wrong after Probst pointed it out. But he had blurted out what it was. That just seemed to be like such a big blunder on his part.
It's got unforgettable, I think. Is what
Is
he
that what it
kept
was?
with. Unforgettable.
Kamilla almost gets there with the correct spelling, 1 block away, and drops. Meanwhile, Mary's still back working the 2 vases section. And basically, Kyle can't spell. That's where we end up with him through this.
Yep. He just
Joe and
couldn't quite get
Kamilla
it.
both are at a point where they've dropped 1 block. And
2.
what's that?
Joe had 2.
No,
Oh,
he
2.
got down to 1. They both had
Well, yeah.
1 block to go, and they were
I
both...
mean on the ground.
I do too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there was 1 block on the ground. And then Joe thinks he has it. I didn't see that he didn't have it. I thought he had come back and won again. But it turns out one of the eyes on the end were flipped around. The white
Yeah,
side,
he
black
had
side
it,
was
it
on
just
the...
wasn't turned the right way.
Yeah, he had flipped one block
When he picked it
incorrectly. It
up,
wasn't
yeah.
even a letter.
Yeah,
And
because I thought he had it too, and then Jeff said, "Wait, no."
Kamilla was finished just a half a second behind him and stepped back on the mat too, and she ended up winning when Probst realized Joe had it wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, she got some good response there from the crowd, some good whistles and whoops celebrating her win.
Well, and she was more surprised than anyone.
Yeah, said it didn't feel real.
That she'd never expected to actually win an immunity.
Yep. So now she's got to choose who goes on reward, and Probst wants an answer to explain how you're making your decision. And she says this person's eating the least, and she picks Mitch. And then she picks Eva, but we never hear the reasoning.
Yep. Well, we did, but not
Yeah.
for Probst.
Right.
Her reasoning was,
Yep.
to make Eva feel comfortable.
It hit Mary hard. She was crying.
Yep.
She said, I'm really proud of Kamilla, but I'm on the bottom again. And this seems like it's actually hurts more the second time I'm stuck on the bottom.
Yeah, and the fact that she just was not getting any leverage with anyone.
Didn't feel like she had
No
any
one had
traction.
committed to
Yep, no
anything,
agency.
so.
Yep. I liked what you said here. You said, oh my goodness, is she going to try to bring Eva in? Because we were both wondering what was going on with why she chose
She's
Eva.
not going to tell Eva, is she,
Yeah.
that they're going to target
You're
Joe?
more panicked. That,
She wouldn't do that.
right.
No way.
No.
So I was glad to see that. No, indeed, she is way brighter than that.
Okay, they're back at camp. Time for that reward. Kamilla has persevered, and she's feeling amazing having won that reward.
Well, I was thinking, hey, they could actually do this thing. I'd give up any points, just to see
it happen.
a big move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. I would have been hooping and hollering, but, I thought, why would you pass up this opportunity? Because he may not lose again.
True.
I mean-
when it was so close, when you almost missed it,
Yes.
had he flipped the block correctly,
Yes.
you wouldn't
It
be
was
having
just
this
a teeny
opportunity.
tiny little thing.
Yeah.
that kept him from getting this one.
You know who's happy to eat again? Mitch is. He's happy that
He don't seem to care about nothing else.
He's happy that he's been given food. Those were his
Eating that
rewards.
food.
Given
and
food
Eva
again.
too. Boy, she was going for the gusto. Not that I blame him.
And Kamilla shares in a confessional that, whoopsies, she hadn't actually given any thought to who she would take on a reward because she didn't think it was possible.
She never even considered that she might win one.
She did know that she wanted to avoid Kyle. She didn't want to pick Kyle, make that obvious.
No, didn't want to risk giving that away.
She really wanted to keep Joe and Eva comfortable, and that's how she arrived at choosing Eva.
Yep, and I don't disagree with that
Cut
at
to
all.
Eva saying, this feels great, and we talked about food the whole time.
Well, and Eva is very loyal. Very loyal. That means something to her. And you can justify taking Eva and not giving Joe more strength for the dang challenges. So I thought she did it well. And, Joe would react if she took Shauhin too, so he was kind of out. And and they didn't want to reward Mary. That wouldn't serve a purpose.
Yep, it worked, Kamilla tells us. Eva was definitely feeling comfortable, and Eva tells him, hey, I'm going to play my idol when I, at that last part, to make sure I get in.
Well, and Eva had said, oh, maybe Mary was going to try to talk Joe into voting for her. She's like, as if Joe would do that. And I thought, hello, people. Listen to what she's saying. She knows Joe's not writing her name down to go home. He might write her name down to win.
Yeah.
But he's not sending her home. That tells you you're not breaking them up unless you send one of them home.
Still hopeful that Kamilla and Mary and Mitch might get some traction here. And we see Kamilla saying that her and Mitch can still make a move.
Well, yeah, they could, and I think she really wanted to.
Did you like Shauhin's Win a Challenge song? That was good. He's putting some thought into his songs, isn't he? When he was in the hammock there singing.
Well, I'm sure they didn't want Star to have the only song, so I didn't pay it all that much attention.
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was creative. But he really wants an immunity necklace. He wants it so bad. He was even in the lead there for a little bit, and then he blew it again, he tells us. And now there's a funeral vibe there at camp.
Yeah. Well, nobody wants to talk to the dead person walking, and it's like, well, but is that Mary? Or is it Joe? Or do they not know yet?
Well, Mary's pretty clear it's her, she says, but she is resilient and she's got a plan.
Well, Shauhin said he wasn't sure it was Mary. So
Joe tells us he doesn't want to panic. He just wants a Mary vote, but he knows that blindsides are possible. This gives us a little hope that something may be coming, but he says, I'm just going to take a deep breath and I'm going to vote Mary out.
No, what Joe actually said was to Shauhin and Kyle, nobody panic, just vote Mary. But nobody panicked until Mary said she was going to vote his name, then who panicked? So anyway, Kyle's just not sure what makes sense for tonight's vote. Really, Kyle? You don't know what makes sense? He's struggling, I get that. Yeah. But what makes sense is Joe doesn't have immunity tonight.
Pretty simple for us here on the couch.
Yeah. Sure, I don't have a connection to Joe.
He congratulates Kamilla when they return and says he wants to brainstorm with her a little bit.
Why do you think he told her then? Just gaining trust because maybe he's feeling guilty because
this was your point earlier, right?
And so he doesn't want to choose her and then keep lying to her. So he tells her he's a lawyer, but please don't use it against me. I thought, well, that is a risk.
He's also been talking multiple times now where he's made a point about how he shared things and how that drew him closer to the person he was sharing personal things with.
Yeah.
And Kamilla had said, hey, one of us is going to be final three. And then he tells her, hey, I'm actually a lawyer. I'm not a teacher. And what's Camilla's response? He is a great liar. And I don't care. I just want one of us in the final three.
Yeah, that bothers me slightly.
Well, it seemed to have an impact because,
Yeah,
he says, or she says that, Kyle says that Camilla's his number one. He's making the choice. He just doesn't trust Mary.
He says that, but I don't know if his vote says that to me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Turn on Joe win.
She didn't hardly bat an eye at his truth.
He even said he was she was as unconcerned as Joe was about Eva going off in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well,
it's about these two duos. That's what it's boiling down to.
Kamilla tells us that Kyle and I know that Joe has to go. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of when.
Kyle even says at one point, if we get Joe today, we could both get to the end.
Yeah, exactly.
That seemed powerful. That seemed
I thought so too.
Like a good indicator.
Yes. And especially if you can still keep it under wraps. Nobody knows you're together.
Mm-hmm.
So, But Kamilla was worried about Mary.
Yeah, speaking of Mary, she is not going to take it laying down. Yeah. So she's chopping coconuts again, and she says she's going to cause some chaos.
And she has one more trick up her sleeve.
Joe, I'm writing your name. And it worked.
It did.
I hope you take it as a compliment.
I like watching her get under people's skin.
Yeah.
She knows, just like she did with Say, going out swimming and some of that stuff was just genius in my opinion.
Yes.
And I thought this was a genius move because Mr. Don't panic now, you boys. Don't
got rattled.
Panic.
Yeah.
And then Shauhin's
what if she plays an idol? Then I'm gone. He's right. He was thinking through.
Yep, he did.
See Joe talking to Mitch and Kyle, and both Mitch and Kyle are trying to reassure him, look, she doesn't have an idol.
But what if she does?
Maybe we should throw one vote on someone else. It seems like he's wanting one of them to volunteer, but neither does.
He is freaking out.
Yes.
It might be a mild freak out, but it's a freak out nonetheless.
So when Mitch and Kyle don't bite, he takes it to Shauhin, and Shauhin says the same thing. Look, Mary doesn't have anything. And then Joe says something that I thought might trigger Shauhin to flip on Joe. He says,
I thought so too.
Why would it matter if I write your name? And Shauhin wasn't having any of that. He's like, look, I've been through this twice already.
I would have said, what does it matter if Mary writes yours?
Yeah, well, I think that was what he was essentially saying.
What's the problem?
He lost some respect for Joe at this moment in the game.
Yeah.
He's like, I've gone through this twice, and I was able to chill through it. You've been safe 3 times with the immunity necklace, and now this one time, and you're ready to fold.
And then, just before they go to tribal council, Kyle doesn't know if he can write Joe's name.
This seemed like an editor trick. This didn't seem right after we had seen him pledge allegiance to Kamilla, and now we're back to the wishy-washy. Am I making the right decision?
Yeah.
Did this really happen at this point in the timeline, or is this from some time before when he was struggling?
And there's no way for us to know.
Yeah, there may be some clues there. Sometimes you can go in and look at a scene real closely and go, oh no, that actually happened earlier. But I didn't see anything on the first pass. Okay, Tribal Council, night 21. Probst was looking really solemn.
Okay.
Black shirt, no motion on the face, stone-faced.
Alrighty. And Kyle tells us he's getting married a month and a half, and he's not with her. He's not helping plan the wedding.
Why did this all of a sudden be what are you playing for? Is almost like a final tribal council pitch.
I think Jeff was just trying to get them to talk about why they were there, what they were fighting for.
Motivation,
some kind of motivation.
Joe tells us he's making a sacrifice. He's missing out on time with the little ones.
And you never get that back.
And he threw that little part in there about being a firefighter, and basically you never know when you're going to die. So because he said emphasize putting his life on the line. And
was that when he said for people I don't know?
Mm-hmm. It resonated with Chrissy. She knows. She's a firefighter, paramedic.
Yeah.
So.
And Mary talks about wanting to help her mom.
Yep. Give her mom a little comfort. You know all about that, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Kamilla, same thing. Her parents sacrificed so much. Same thing with Shauhin when they had to flee the country. They escaped with nothing, and then they all want to be able to help their parents out, and got tears going for many of them.
Yeah, and I think it does remind them what they're doing, but it gets them emotional too. So I think, is it harder to make a kill vote when you're feeling more emotional?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So,
We didn't know at the time, but they had their minds made up. There wasn't anything.
yeah.
We're still holding out the possibility they may hit Joe at this point. And Mitch brings it home. He sort of regrounds it. He said, "Yep, you can definitely feel it in these conversations." And
I love these people, but you have to do what you have to do.
yeah, at some point you got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
But that's not always true. We have seen people who become supporters of someone who goes on and wins.
Yeah.
I don't understand why those people go out and put themselves through the game.
I always warned you about that.
Yeah, you thought I had that as
I did.
a problem.
I thought I could totally see you going,
He's too soft.
But honey, they
Yeah.
needed the money more than we do. I was like, you better not do that. If you make me go through being without you and not getting to talk, I'm like, do not do that.
It's simple for Eva. It's still all about
You'll be in
us.
trouble.
Eva's focused on the us. She's not at the we, the me stage. What can I do for us, she says. Yeah, and
Yeah,
Kamilla
what makes sense
gives good
for
perspective
us
on
as
that.
a group.
Because she said, well, there's a core group, and then there's those outside of that core group. Not everybody's a part of us. So
Well, Joe was pointing out that none of the winners before us or after us, that's basically what he was talking about, was that nobody did it alone.
nobody ever wins alone. And
No, they
luck
don't.
is a humongous factor
It
in the
is.
win.
And
So
always
taking
has
too much
been.
credit always comes off bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And he still believes the right group can take the whole loyalty spiel all the way to the end.
Well, and
possible.
Kyle got it in there that, we see players make a big move and then they go home.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that,
see,
maybe
that was
that's
his
on
tell,
his
right?
mind too.
Yeah.
And Mary's just straight up, nobody wanted to work with me.
Yep. And they might have been chill, but I was all about the panic.
Yep.
Got no follow through with anyone. Lots of people placating me.
I'm not sure why Kamilla, Zed's chasing frogs
Yeah.
at the window.
Outside, yeah.
At the window. They're on the door. Okay. Kamilla pointed out that, that's Mary's perspective, but it may not be what it is. What do you think she was trying to communicate? Was she still trying to get people to, or just create a little drama, or what was she saying that for, do you think?
Other than to try to give Mary some peace, I don't know. There are other plans afoot. You never know what else is going on. Yeah.
Plans afoot? Shauhin said, and I did not expect this from Shauhin, I need to play a game that I can be proud of.
Yeah,
I
of course.
just thought he was
Why?
going to be such a cutthroat. He was going to be one of the villains of the season. He was going to make a point to be a villain and do all this stuff. And now he sounds more like Joe.
You know what I was most happy with is that we were spared a lot of those cuts to David this time. I was really glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because he was mean mugging again when he
It's
came
like,
in.
oh, enough.
Yeah.
And do you think Eva played that and they didn't show us, or she just let it ride because they didn't have a need to play it?
You can't play it and not know it. You're talking about
What?
the safety without power?
Oh, they would have shown it had she done it.
Yeah, because you have to leave
Oh,
the
that's
game.
right. Somebody had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that part. So,
Yeah. No,
okay.
she just sat on
They
it.
just let it, but it is no longer valid.
Right. It
'Cause
expired.
It was only through Final 7.
Correct.
Okay, so now she only has an idol. Okay, and time to vote.
One vote Mary, one vote Joe.
Joe. No.
Mary's out.
That's what I said. Joe.
Unanimous on Mary. She's out.
Yeah.
David was shaking his head when the Mary votes came in, and then he stood.
I was like, oh, David.
You asked the question. Now, is he doing that to get attention, or is he trying to celebrate Mary? Is he doing it out of
I think
respect
he wants
to Mary?
everyone to think he's doing
it
that
for
for
Mary,
Mary, but
but
it
he's
looked a lot like a look at me.
Yes, it
look
did.
at me.
Yeah.
And he had on the shirt so he could show off the big guns, and obviously he's been pumping the iron
and mean mugging.
drinking that milk, and yeah. So I was like, yes, it looks very nice, David.
What a knob. All right.
It just, not that he might have even had those feelings, but it just still felt like mugging to me. But, okay, whatever.
Okay, what do you think of the overall episode? Again, it seems like a big disappointment. They did not make a move, and Joe marches on.
True, but I enjoyed it because it's Survivor, but was it predictable? I thought so, though I was really hoping they'd do something, but I had a feeling that if they were going to do something, they would not do it this week. They'd get rid of Mary first. Now, they still have total opportunity next week if Joe doesn't win immunity. They still could. If Kyle and Shauhin jumped on board with Kamilla and Mitch, they can still make the move. They could even do it with 3 left. I mean 5, but, as long as they had 3 to go against Joe and Eva.
Mm-hmm.
But Eva still has an idol for next week, so unless they blindside her, which I don't think would be that hard to do.
No.
Because she believes them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would be that hard for them to blindside her with the idol.
So it was more important to get Mary out, to not let her go further.
It seemed to be, at least to Kamilla was saying that.
Because what? The closer you get to the core 4...
They didn't trust her. They didn't trust her not to go tell. And, they just weren't confident enough to use her. But I don't know. But they could still do it. But, Shauhin and Kyle, if they stay adamant, I don't know where at what point are they going to say, okay, it's Final 4, everyone for themselves. We're here now.
I want Kamilla to be at the end.
I do too.
I'm not as much cheering for Mitch because I see Mitch doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, he just can't get a footing either. But seems like, and I don't know, I really, like I said, I thought Shauhin would be playing differently, but ever since Eva told him the truth.
They're all saying the right things.
Yeah. And they say they know they don't want to go up against Joe, but they don't want to vote him out either, so
you come into the episode and you think, I'm pretty sure Joe's going to make it through this. And that ends up being the result.
Yep.
They're all still essentially together. Can you still enjoy the episode or find things during the episode the way they laid it out for us? It seems like there was a possibility, but they rug pull us again with a Mary vote in essence.
I still enjoyed. What about you?
Yeah, I did too. I liked getting the insight. I liked seeing Kyle struggle. I wish I could get a little more on Kamilla and how she's trying to find her path. I want her to have more than one option, to have more than just Kyle.
I almost think that Kyle kind of has a little bit of, it's almost like Joe is a big brother, dad type figure for him. Mm-hmm. And that makes it extremely difficult for him.
That's essentially what he said.
Against him.
Yeah, because they've shared all these things. Yes.
Yeah. Now I just feel like Shauhin, I don't know. He seems to. It just feels like he could do it. I think he'd have more trouble going after Eva because she told him the truth. But he seems to have trouble with Joe too. So, what's your goal, guys?
So does that mean that Joe's that much better of a player?
Well,
because he's built those stronger bonds.
He's telling them, and he's taking on the leader hero role, and he's telling them, now, boys, don't panic.
Shauhin still thinks he can win.
Don't panic. Just do. Yes, he thinks he's played a better game.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he could convince people, but when Joe's got that many wins, that makes a difference with people.
Well, the perception of Joe seems to be off the charts.
There. Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to leave that piece on the board for sure.
Yeah. And Eva would vote for him even if she did get voted out and blindsided.
I'll say this about the episode on the whole. I'm disappointed in the result. I'm fully on board with everything that they said for why they should have moved against Joe, and yet they unanimously voted out Mary.
Yep.
And I don't feel like I've been given enough information to understand how you come to that conclusion.
But I still have hope that they might make a move next week.
The possibility's there. Let's go to next time on Survivor. We see Kyle talking to Joe, and Kyle says, "Don't freak out. Shauhin flipped." So our immediate takeaway from that is that somehow Shauhin's moving against the core four now. That's what that would mean?
Actually, that's not what it meant to me. I thought they're framing Shauhin. Because then Kyle said to Kamilla, "We have to do our acting."
Yes, but
But they could be working with Shauhin.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, and they could be using Shauhin.
Yes.
Without his knowledge.
And Kamilla talks about they're really playing hard.
Yeah.
And I thought I will lose some respect for Kyle if he doesn't try to save Kamilla and take her to the end with him as part of the final three.
There appears to be some resultant tension between Shauhin and Joe because we see Shauhin saying to Joe, "You're acting like I pooped in your pancakes."
Yep.
And we see Joe talking to Eva. Is there any chance this is
Is bull.
Yeah. Is this a bull story?
So,
And then
yes,
something.
Joe, there's always a chance.
And then just something that just seems off. We see Kamilla talking to Joe and saying, "He showed me beads." So
Well,
like Joe's trying to verify that Shauhin has an idol.
Yeah.
And that's Camilla's
Could be.
response. I'm not quite
That's
sure.
where my mind went, but I don't know that that's it.
Joe's working on it. He says there's something cooking. The question is by who. So he's not quite sure who's moving against him.
Cooking.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, you do get the sense that they framed Shauhin, but I wasn't sure what the first one about Shauhin flipping, if there was some other context that could happen in, but I guess not. That just means that they're saying that he's moving against the core four. And of course, Shauhin would adamantly deny it because he's not. But
well, if Kyle and Kamilla could get rid of Shauhin, then they could go after.
there's a spot for
Eva
Kamilla.
Yes.
It makes
And
it easier to get Kamilla in there.
Mitch and Kyle could then pull together if they got Shauhin out of the way by making Joe and Eva distrust him, and we need to blindside him now. Then they would have the numbers. But that's also assuming that there's no idol left and that they haven't won immunity. For every challenge here on out. And the next one decides who goes to the finale.
Right.
Who's the final five? Is it going to be Mitch? Is it going to be Shauhin? Is it going to be Joe, Eva, Kamilla? If they catch on.
Or Kyle. Yeah.
If they catch on that Kyle and Kamilla are working together and they're playing them, then one of them could go. So I still see that there's enough that drama that could happen and that moves can still be made.
Yeah.
I just don't know which way their minds are going to go with it. Or if they'll follow through.
Well, so far the answer's been no.
And if they don't, then okay, Eva or Joe wins. Alrighty. It's like, well, you didn't do anything to stop it. So, and they're not going to vote against each other.
I still think I think there's a story for Kyle for sure.
Oh yeah, I think he could make a
If
story.
he was there with
and
them.
Kamilla as well. But
Yes.
if Camilla's there with him, whose story's better? Camilla's been more
Probably.
under the radar.
Yes, way more.
Kyle's betrayed more, maybe.
Yeah.
But Camilla's stayed more under the radar, and yet even Kyle would have to admit that she's been his support for
Right.
His strategic moves, or tried to be.
I think my USB is out of the running. I just not seeing anything from Mitch. He doesn't have a story. He's happy to get food at rewards. That's the sum of the Mitch story.
For a second, I was like, who's mine? It's like, oh yeah, Kyle.
Yeah. Yours has got a path. Shauhin thinks he has a path. I'm just not sure since they've given him a bit of a clown at it.
He's very likable, but I think he's going to end up in the jury. I don't think I just not.
Maybe next week is his time, yeah. Yep.
So if they get wind of any of that or they question it, Eva and Joe could just pull Mitch over and then, try to get one of the others too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's obviously
offer Kamilla and Mitch the Final Four with them.
Still different paths, yeah. But that goes against their loyalty, honesty, integrity group.
Yes.
How about a JSFL update?
Oh, I can do that. All right. Scary is still in first with 52 points. Good job.
Go Scary. Go Scary.
20 people lost their USB.
Womp womp. 64
people lost a safe point this week.
Ooh.
And 159
Safe on Mary.
people earned a vote-off point.
Safe on Mary. That was bold.
Us, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, a safe on Mary. Oh, yeah.
That must have been a had to.
Well, yeah.
And they're also, you can believe they're going to be extremely disappointed in the outcome. Yes. Once again, you didn't take out the big threat, and you took out poor Mary.
How about I read the side challenger score?
Okay.
With 48 points, congratulations, Robert. You're in first.
Way to go, Robert.
With 47 points, we have Jeremiah, Lisa Ray, Parker, and Stacy. With 46, Rebecca. 45, Justin. 44, Johnny. 43, Anderson. And with 40, Drew.
Drew, you made the 40s. Welcome. Welcome, brother. He's holding fast. We appreciate you.
Yep. All right. Well, you
Quite
and
the
I
spread.
are tied.
Oh, yeah?
There, too, yeah.
Do you have enough safes? Are you going to make it?
I believe I do, yeah.
So you got 4s or less on everybody?
Well, I did
no
not
5s?
put Joe. No, I don't have any 5s, so I think I'm okay. I hadn't double checked. I don't know. I have to check with Mitch and see if I have enough on him.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else, I know I do, because it'll be 2 more times.
Yep, need 2 more safe votes. Yes.
Yep. So I think
For
I got
everybody who's
that
left to not be stressing.
because I had used Eva and Joe so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had them safe the last few weeks, so that worked out fine.
I had Eva safe this time.
Yeah, I didn't do that because then if I used them, I wouldn't have it for the potential
Wouldn't have
last
enough.
2.
Yeah. Yep, makes
In
sense.
case they do go.
Makes sense.
So,
Yep.
so now I think I have more options. I could still lose one of the points, but hey, I'm glad for it to be that close.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's our recap. We look forward to doing our listener feedback show on Saturday, and we would love to have you join us. We've been having a blast, big turnouts. Be great to have some more folks join in. If you want to call the voicemail line, the number is 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737, or you can record your own audio and send it to us, or you could write it up in an email and we'll read it into the show on your behalf. The email address is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Eastern time, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range. Looking forward to your thoughts on how this remaining 6 are doing, what you thought about this episode. Did you need to say something?
I was going to say, I was looking at the clock. Our 32nd anniversary is almost over.
Okay. Happy 32nd anniversary, baby. All right. Feedback's due noon Eastern time. We ask you keep it in that 3-minute range. Looking forward to hearing what you thought about this episode. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointing because we didn't get a big move, didn't get a big action.
Yeah.
But it's possible to enjoy, and I guess it wasn't as much of a rug pull because we've already been through this once.
Yeah.
With the previous episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to
More
see
of the same.
it quite go that way, but I mean, I thought it would. Let's be honest, but
Who's impressed you the most? Who do you think's playing the best? Who's in jeopardy being voted out next? Do you think the loyal core four are gonna make it all the way together to the end there, to a fire making challenge to decide the final three? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on all that and any other observations you made. We might have missed something important, so we're counting on you to let us know and share that with the other super fans. Anything else you need to add?
no, just it would be just a terrible shame if Kamilla didn't make it. So I am pushing for that, for her to make it,
Okay.
at least to the finale.
All right. Have a good one.